All right. Looks like we are live. Welcome back to yet another BriHive live stream. We have updates in Diddy's case. Some of you may know that he had a status conference here today, but some of you may not know he also filed a motion which could potentially lead to him being released from jail because he is essentially alleging that the prosecution, maybe not them directly, but the Department of Homeland Security, who is connected with the prosecution, did something wrong. And the thing that they are saying he did wrong was leaking some evidence. So we are going to talk about the evidence that Diddy's lawyers are claiming that the government leaked or that knew about the leak and didn't try to stop it. And one of the remedies for this alleged leak, that for the motion that they're filing, is that Diddy can get a get out of jail free card, but they have to go ahead and do some discovery and also review some evidence to really determine whether they're going to be able to get him out of jail regarding this alleged leak. The one thing that I found to be very interesting about the alleged leak, and I'm saying alleged because they filed this motion yesterday. They had a status hearing today, and we don't really, and not that we don't really know, but I couldn't really follow the defense and the solid evidence, the prima facie case they're claiming that they were able to show in their memo in support of their motion. I just don't think that they did a prima facie case. They didn't even give the rules of what a prima facie case would be in order to succeed on this kind of motion. So I definitely would like to see how the prosecutors respond and then how the judge responds to this request. So anyways, status conference, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about this new motion that that Diddy filed seeking to get released. So for those of you dropping in the chat, did he get released? He did not actually get released, but he is seeking to be released both on appeal and under this new motion for an evidentiary hearing, which he's hoping that one of the remedies will be for him to get out of jail. Like I said, he doesn't really focus on that remedy, but that is a possibility if he's able to prove his case. If you guys are watching live, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button because it brings more friends to the channel, and we love friends over here at the BriHive. If you're watching on the replay, also make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. We are going to set the like goal for today. Let's see where we are. We are currently at 8 likes with 10 people watching live. So if you have not hit the like button, make sure you do hit the like button so that we can reach our like goal for the stream. And I'm going to go ahead and make the like goal for the stream. Let's go ahead and set it at 50. We'll set the like goal for the stream at 50 and see if we can reach that so we can see Bossy B celebrate with us. Let me see. I got a chat in the back. Okay, thank you, Kimmy. I see that in the back. And let's go ahead and bring Bossy B in so that we can say hello. If you have not dropped in the chat to let us know that you're watching live, make sure you do so that we can say hello. Where is Bossy B? Got to get used to live streaming again. I just feel like I'm going too long without live streaming, y'all. Like, I really feel like I'm going to have to add some extra days in, which I'm working on it. I am working on it, some different series on the channel. Just got to do a little bit more research so that we can get like a full scope of what we're going to be presenting. But we are going to have some new content coming in, which may result in an extra live stream per week, which is not that different because we were doing 2 live streams per week, but we might go back into doing the 2 live streams per week once I can get my life together on the research-based projects that I am planning on putting out. And I'm also thinking of a different series which involves Reddit. And I'm gonna do a test episode and see how y'all like it, and then we'll go from there. Anyways, let's see who's here live. We got Leela Wells saying hi, hello, and welcome into the live stream. Nice to have you in tonight. We got Gina Pritt saying, Diddy released? Welcome in. He is not released. He's trying to get released, and that's why we have the question mark on our thumbnail. We got Crystal Harris saying, snap. Yes, Diddy is trying again to get out of his little cage. We got Crystal Harris says, live in the hive. Hello and welcome in. Nice to see you tonight. Mr. Howard saying hi with a lot of eyes. Hello and welcome in. Nice to have you back tonight. And we got Kimmy Locker, our member, moderator, consultant, paralegal of the channel. Welcome in. Nice to see you tonight backstage and in the chat. Okay, y'all. So we are just going to jump right into it because there is a lot of stuff going on with the Diddy case. I will be honest with y'all. I was going to cover a completely different case, but somehow I don't know what I was doing earlier, But I just went to look in on Diddy's case and I saw that there was this motion that was filed that no one's talking about. And I was like, maybe we should cover this on the live stream tonight because, we won't be back here until next Thursday and then it'll be old news, right? So I decided to go ahead and jump into that. So before we go ahead and start talking about this motion for the evidentiary hearing, trying to get Diddy released, we are going to start off with the status conference just to see where we are from what happened today in court. And the StreamYard got different on me. Oh, no, it didn't. I just don't know what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to get this screen shared, y'all. I forgot to share it at the beginning of the stream. Okay, let's see where we are here. I'm going to start. We got Bossy B. Bree, learn how to stream again. Okay, we are at the status conference. We're going to start there. Diddy had a hearing today in New York to determine what his trial date is going to be moving forward. They also discussed some of the evidentiary some of the evidentiary issues that both sides wanted to point out. So let's go ahead and start with the joint letter regarding what evidence is missing and where we're going from here. Then we'll get into what happened at the status conference. I honestly don't have a lot of information on the status conference because, your girl be working. Kimmy did give me a link to some highlights. So, okay, there we go. Thank you, Kimmy. Thank you for pulling that for me. And then so we'll go ahead and jump into that. Sorry, y'all. I'm a little bit all over the place because I'm trying to get my life together. Okay, joint letter. I'm having technical difficulties. I'm not even going to lie. I can't download any of the documents that I have on the case, but we will be able to view them in Google Drive. So there's that. But some of them did download and I do have in front of me. So let's go ahead and jump into the joint motion. The court ordered the parties to have a joint a joint letter telling the court what is to happen at the hearing that happened today. What are issues that will be before the court other than setting the matter for trial, and then some other little deadlines that need to happen before a trial. And when I tell y'all, Diddy is mad about where he is claiming is a leak. And I cannot wait to get to the allegations in the leak because they just don't make any sense. And Diddy is like telling on himself. He's literally telling on himself regarding the leak. And I don't know if his attorney doesn't know that's what he's doing, but essentially he is telling on himself in the leak. And I don't know, in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if Diddy is the one that actually leaked the video and is now blaming the prosecution for leaking the video. But anyways, we're going to get into that a little bit later on. Let's see what the joint status conference said. I honestly don't want to read the whole thing because we kind of have a lot to get through on the memo where he's saying that the government did something wrong. I don't think I know how to live stream anymore. I cannot find. Okay, here they are. There they are. Okay, this is to the judge, the government's position regarding the October 10th hearing at 2 p.m. today. That was today. Discovery in this case is voluminous, totaling several terabytes of electronic material and consists of primarily the following categories. These are the things that they collected in the raid. Electronically stored information belonging to the defendant, including cell phones, laptops, tablets, hard drives, cloud accounts, etc. Electronically stored information of third parties, cell phone, laptops, tablets, and cloud accounts, business records from financial institutions, phone companies, hotels, airlines, and other businesses, physical evidence seized in searches of the defendant's residence, law enforcement records, and search warrant returns, including cell phone location information. Beyond the information set forth herein, the government will be prepared to answer any questions from the court at the upcoming conference regarding the status and contents of discovery, including the various types of discovery, the status and anticipate timeline of extracting electronically stored information, and the anticipation time needed to produce the remaining discovery in the government's possession. Now, one thing to note about this case is Diddy is trying to push this case along. He's trying to make it go as fast as possible so that the government does not have time to really respond, or not really respond, but really gather their stuff and make the case go forward. And we'll talk about that when we talk about what the actual trial date is. It's going to be less than a year from the date that he was indicted. So I'll give y'all that little information, but we're going to talk about what day it's going to be a little bit later on. But he is trying to move this quickly so that one, the state will be the prosecution will be less prepared, and two, so he can try to get out of there because the prosecution is not able to prove their case because they didn't have enough time to prepare. He has a right to a speedy trial. He is executing his right to a speedy trial, which again also revolves around the court schedule as well. So we'll talk about the date. Let's go ahead and jump back into it. The government has been in close coordination with the defense regarding the production of discovery in this case, and the government has prioritized the expedient. I think that's right. Production of the defendant's electronically stored information, which makes up a significant portion of the total discovery in the case. So they are basically saying they are still sorting through all the crap that Diddy had stored in his house. Like, why do you have that much electronic information? I don't know. But the court is saying they're still trying to sort through it. Since the defendant's arrest on September 16, 2024, the parties have engaged in extensive negotiation regarding the protective order, which the court signed on October 4th, 2024, and docketed on October 7, 2024. On September 25th, 2024, the government requested hard drives from the defense for discovery, which it received on October 1st, 2024. On October 7, 2024, the government made its first production of discovery, which included, among other things, a complete set of search warrants in the case, iCloud reports for 2 of defendants' accounts, and the defendant's phone seized on March 25, 2024, which defense counsel specifically requested to be produced in the first production. Let me see. Okay, so the defendant is offering up evidence. I thought I read that wrong, but he's like, no, here, take my phone. I promise you guys can have the phone. And we'll get into a little bit of that in a minute too, because the defense's position is interesting to say the least. They're offering up evidence. Here, look here, where I probably deleted everything and, wiped the phone, allegedly, in my opinion, and speculations. The following day, and as relayed to the defense, the government began copying, but they put copying over 40 devices and the other 5 iCloud reports belonging to defendant, which is expected to take several days due to the volume of the material. The government also informed the defense that in addition to those devices and cloud accounts, it expected to make rolling productions within the next 30 days of hard drives that were seized from the defendant. The subpoena returns currently in the government's possession, and the materials from the searches executed at defendant's residence and hotel room. So they are gathering stuff, and they basically want to give the information to the defendant on a rolling basis. So they don't want to have to say, here's everything right here. They want to be all like, okay, we went through this, here you can have this. We went through this, here you can have this. And defense is like, no, give me everything right now. Y'all have had this information. We'll get into it. Y'all have this information since March. Give us the information. We gave you the information. They gave them the information like within less than 6 days, or I guess less than a week. They said, you want this? Here it is. Here's the hard drive that you're looking for. We expect the same in return. To the extent that the defense position below suggests otherwise, the government wishes to clarify that it has been endeavoring to extract devices seized from the defendants as expediently as possible since their seizure. They're saying this because the defense is basically saying they moving too slow and they should have been done already, is what they're trying to say. Moreover, the government is producing the defendant's material in the first instance without responsiveness or privilege reviews. Finally, the government informed the defense that it expected to produce the remainder of discovery, including electronic information seized from devices and cloud accounts belonging to other individuals on a rolling basis by the end of the year. The electronically stored information from third parties must be reviewed before it can be produced to the defendants, and in many cases must first be reviewed for privilege. So they want to make sure that they're not violating anybody's attorney-client privilege, any marriage privilege, any other kind of privilege that they might have on those devices, because this is the state, they're going through it. It's not necessarily their information. Now, what could be, what they don't really need to go through is like Diddy stuff, right? That probably doesn't have anything privileged in it that the government needs to approve. It'll be more for his side to say, hey, that's privileged information, which why would you have it videotaped with you talking to your lawyers? I don't know. But maybe that's not what's in there. So they're like, just give it back to us. Give it to us. You took it. You've had time to go through it. Give it back to us. They go on to say the government's investigation is ongoing and will continue to review and produce discovery on a rolling basis as it receives Rule 16 material or as technology advancements allow the government to access electronically stored information that has not yet been extracted. So yes, we have had the information since March, but we're still trying to pull all that crap. He had a lot of terabytes of information, and you expect us to pull it within a couple of months? Is it reasonable? I don't know, because I don't do this on a regular basis, so I would have no clue. But they're basically saying it's not easy to get all of this information. Do y'all know how much junk he has? But the defense is like, nah. The defense says the parties are in almost daily discussions concerning discovery. That means Diddy's his bills are going to be high AF. Very, very high, because his attorneys are in almost daily communication with the state, which means they're charging hourly rate. One little email, 0.6. Those add up. Those add up really fast, and especially depending on what his attorney's hourly fee is, which I'm sure it's not $300 an hour. I'm sure of that. It's probably more along the lines of like $1,000 an hour, which is going to be a lot for a little email that's going back and forth and a little phone call that's going back and forth. So I would love to see what his attorney's hourly rates are. But anyways, the defense intends to ask the court to require the government to immediately produce certain categories of information, namely copies of Mr. Combs' electronic devices that were seized over 6 months ago and at the time of his arrest, and certain categories of requested Brady material, and to timely review and produce the remaining Rule 16 material in their possession. Outstanding subpoena returns and electronically stored information belonging to other individuals, many of which have also been in the government's possession for months. Again, trying to say they've had this for months. They should have went through all of this. It's a lot of information. Not just Diddy's information is a lot. The third-party information is going to be a lot too. Through our dialogue with the government, we understand that the government seized a significant amount of Combs' electronic devices and data pursuant to a search warrant that were executed on March 25th, 2024. The government also seized additional devices belonging to Mr. Combs at the time of his arrest about 3 weeks ago. We also understand that the government is only now beginning to review and copy this electronic devices, including those that were seized in March 2024. So they basically they just sat on this evidence. Judge, they're sitting on the evidence. Make them move faster. They could have been done with this. The timely production of these materials is critical to Mr. Combs' ability to prepare his defense. And because these devices belong to Mr. Combs, their production should not be delayed by the government's initial review for responsiveness and privilege. The government has indicated they will be able to produce these devices in the next 30 days. So that's not that long, but they're still forcing it. With respect to other categories, Rule 16 material, we intend to ask the court to set a reasonable production deadline to allow for significant time to review the material in advance of the spring trial date. Defendant's position, Mr. Combs continues to assert his right to a speedy trial. So this is why he's saying, I need this information now because I'm going to trial in a couple of months. So I need to be able to review this information if I'm going to be able to make it to trial in April or May of 2025, and as consistent with the court's trial schedule. Mr. Combs also seeks deadlines for the filing of pretrial motions with permission to raise certain pretrial motions in advance of any deadline. For example, at some point today, Mr. Combs intends to file a motion for a hearing and other remedies related to unauthorized and prejudicial leaks of grand jury information. The government's position, the government will be available for trial on a date set by the court, although it remains within the court's discretion to set a trial date at the outset of the case or at a later time. So the government is okay. Y'all can set trial, but maybe we can wait a little bit. It's up to the court. Defense is like, no, we want the trial in April or May. We need it in April or May. Get it done. And Kimmy was so lovely to make notes on us of what happened in the status hearing. Status conference. I was not able to look into this prior, so please excuse me if I mess up on any of the reading, as if that's not normal, Bri. You're constantly messing up on reading documents. So, Kimmy, if you want to jump in to explain any of the notes of the breakdown highlights of the conference, please let me know in the back chat and come on up. So, anyways, status conference. Diddy had, remember, they're looking at setting the trial date. They're looking at what's going on with that evidence that we just talked about. Diddy thinks that the state is taking too long. The state is like, hold your horses, okay? I think it's hold your horse. You know, people be messing up colloquials and things. But hold your horse. We're getting through it. And when we're done with it, you'll get it. Defense is like, you've had it since March. Why are you just now doing something? They threw a little bit of shade in there, but their shade was not aggressive enough for me, but there was shade nonetheless. So let's check out the highlights according to Kimmy. Let's see. The case was reassigned to a new judge last week because the initial judge recused himself without giving a reason. I would really like to know what that reason might have been. Is it too messy? Do you know Diddy? What is going on here? Why are we recusing ourselves? The trial is scheduled to start on May 5th. So we are talking about May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, which is also the date that the Met Gala is supposed to start. So poor Diddy will not be going to the Met Gala next year because he is going to be in trial trying to prove his innocence. We got the prosecution expects that their case in chief will take 3 weeks. So we got 3 weeks for the prosecution. And then the defense believes that their case will take 1 week. So at minimum, we are expecting a 1-month trial. In addition to the prosecution's case taking 3 weeks, they noted that if the investigation is ongoing and mentioned the potential of a superseding indictment, which could make it take longer. We talked about that. Whoa, where are all these people coming from? From Uncivil. Thank you, Kurt. I was like, whoa, our numbers jumped up super fast. They are expecting to do a superseding indictment, which we talked about before, where the only charges that are really coming forward. Oh, this is when we get into the memo, y'all. The slight shade that Diddy's own attorney is throwing at him, in my opinion, is wild. We're going to point them out, but they may do some more superseding indictments because the only not causes of action, the only, what do you call them in criminal cases now? The only charges against Diddy sound like they pertain to Cassie individually versus the multiple people that have brought lawsuits against him. Most of them are based on Cassie's allegations. So they may bring superseding indictments, which could potentially delay the trial, potentially make the trial longer, because if they do a superseding indictment, the trial court may not have 6 or 7 weeks to do the trial that they expect it to be done in 4 weeks. So those are other things that could come up. The attorneys discuss issues regarding discovery, which was the letter that we just went over. State says they're working on it. Defense says hurry up. In short, that's essentially what the arguments were. Prosecution expects device downloads will be finished by next week, but noted discovery will continue through December. Diddy's mother and children, twins Jesse and is her name Delilah? I think it's Delilah. Daughters Chance and son Christian, Justin, and Quincy attended. Diddy's team asked to exclude the video of him assaulting Cassie in the hotel, arguing the government leaked it and it's prejudicial as argued in the motion. They argued that today. I wasn't ready for that. Anyways, let's go through it. I'll finish Kimmy's notes, but I didn't know they were arguing that today. I figured they would argue that at a different time. But anyways, prosecution said those claims were baseless and simply a means to try to exclude them. You gotta warn me for the goddamn cuss words, Kimmy, for a darning piece of evidence, and claimed not a single one of those alleged leaks are from members of the prosecution team. Judge said, nothing. Judge told defense attorney to write a proposed order instructing all parties to abide by rules regarding publicly disclosing information that could have a prejudicial effect on the trial. Diddy remains held without bail at the Diddy, sorry, y'all. My brain has a lot of things going on in it right now after reading that. Send me where you got this from, Kimmy. Let me know. Let me know where you got this information from, because I want to look into it a little bit more. We're kind of jumping ahead into his motion for the evidentiary hearing. I'm going to have to say I agree with the judge, and I really hope that they do not set a motion. Let me read the last few bullet points, and then I'm going to come back to the write an order and figure it out, kind of. is what the judge is saying. Diddy remains held without bail at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn and is no longer requesting to move unless there's an issue reviewing discovery. However, he does have a pending appeal over the bail being denied. If you guys remember from a couple of weeks ago, Diddy tried to get out of jail twice and was denied twice because he has a flight risk. The defense argued that that's pure speculation. And it's like, no, bro, it's not pure speculation. He has a plane. He's intimidated witnesses before. He is a problem. So he is appealing his denial for his bail. But at that point, when you do that and your trial is in May, you'll probably be out in no time if you're not guilty. But the thing is that you're guilty. So never mind. Sorry, that was my speculation. The thing is that he may be guilty. So if he doesn't get out now, he's probably never, ever getting out. Okay, I wanted to circle back to this statement. The judge told defense attorney to write a proposed order instructing all parties to abide by rules regarding publicly disclosing information that could have a prejudicial effect on the trial. So if you recall, and you may not recall because we're going to go into the motion and we're going to get into the reasoning as to why the defense believes that this information was leaked and why it's prejudicial to Diddy. Now, what I will say is with me reading the supporting documents, it sounds like the lawyer is telling on Diddy and that he is low-key throwing shade at Diddy. I did see that another attorney was appearing, which is interesting to me because I believe that attorney is also like Beyonce and Jay-Z's attorney, and people are coming out and making statements about Beyonce and Jay-Z. And if Beyonce and Jay-Z ends up involved in this case, I don't know how they're going to be able to represent both of them without any conflict of interest. But I could also be confusing Beyonce and Jay-Z's attorney with Diddy's attorney. I could be wrong. Their names are very similar, and I haven't really looked into it all the way. So do not quote me on that they have the same attorney as Beyonce and Jay-Z. Anyways, so circling it back to that statement, defense is like, oh my gosh, they leaked information that was not supposed to be leaked. So we may need to turn over this entire indictment because he's so prejudiced. The jury pool is tainted. We can't go forward. Oh no, oh no, oh no. And at the very least, the court needs to make sure that this video is not shown in court. We're going to talk about what video it is. The judge says, write an order ordering y'all not to disclose information. So I anticipate that some kind of gag order is going to be coming out based on that statement. Again, I haven't had time to look into this. So Kimmy, if you can provide me with a link of where you got this information from, I will go through it and see where we're getting this and if the order has come out yet. But essentially the judge is like, I'm not having an evidentiary hearing on that based on this comment. I'll look into it further. I'm not having an evidentiary hearing on that. How about y'all both be quiet and not disclose information that y'all are not supposed to, which is already a law. It's already a rule that they can't disclose this information, but the court is getting the order so that they will continue not to disclose the information. So in my opinion, based on this, the judge did not agree with setting the matter for an evidentiary hearing to determine whether the prosecution is disclosing information that they're not supposed to be. And I'm going to get into my theories on why they even filed this motion and why it's shady towards Diddy to begin with. So let's go ahead and check out the chat, y'all. If y'all are here live, make sure you are dropping in the chat your thoughts on the case. If you're watching on the replay, make sure to drop in the comments what your thoughts is on the case so far. The status conference, not too juicy, but kind of juicy. We know what the trial date is going to be, and hopefully I have availability to cover that thing. But you know how trials get pushed down the line, so I'm not putting PTO for this yet. So what was I saying? Let's go ahead and jump into the chat and see what y'all are thinking. If you haven't hit the like button, our like goal for the live stream is 50 likes. And we are at 43 likes, so only 7 likes away. And we have 71 people watching live. So I know there's at least 7 people in here who has not hit the like button. So if you are one of those people, please go ahead and hit the like button and help us out on the channel. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel and you're interested in talking about celebrity lawsuits and going down with Diddy, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Okay, now we got Bossy B bringing us into the chat. I almost hit the end live stream button. I've never done that. I've never done that. Okay, we got Kimmy Locker saying, my technical difficulties spread to you. Oh, it was you. I was like, they were literally just working on my iPad. Why are my PDFs not opening? So I will agree that it's you, Kimmy. M-Ball says, X-Speed ENT. I don't know what that means off the top of my head. If anyone can clarify. Just Me MD says, I was thinking about that Diddy did a lot of self-snitching. Can't a lot of those interviews be used as evidence? Yeah, like he did a lot of self-snitching. He also admitted to the video that they're leaking by doing an apology video, which could be used against him in trial because that's public information. Okay. And they probably did discovery on that video as well. So yeah, he did a lot of self-snitching, or his attorneys, in my opinion, did a lot of self-snitching in the actual request for the motion. Karate Cat Mom, love the name, saying uncivil raid. Hello and welcome into all the uncivilians. We got A. Hedinger saying, Kurt says, hi, have a like. Thank you very much for everyone that came in and hit the like button. And again, if you haven't already, please do hit the like button on your way in or your way out or whatever you're doing here or your way hanging out, right? Destined to be also known as Talia D, who is a member and moderator of the channel, says, I'm late, but I'm here. Hey, BriHive, I hit the like button. Did you? Thank you for the reminder and welcome in, Tanya D. Nice to have you back tonight. We got Tony P saying, I'm curious what the 120 plaintiffs have to say that are being represented by Tony Busby. Regarding the status conference, I don't know. I haven't had time to look into much other than the motions that were filed. I do think that some of those lawsuits are going to fall off, though, because they're probably getting paid out. Like the lawyer already told us, some celebrities are buying people off to remove themselves from the lawsuit, which may result in them just dropping the entire lawsuit if they're receiving enough money. Kimmy Locker says, same to at Tony P. Every time I think / hope the same horror can't be done in different ways, I'm proven wrong. That's another interesting thing. Like, I'm telling y'all the shade that is in this goddamn motion for an evidentiary hearing. Yeah. It's some specific things in there that I'm like, did you really just say that? Did you proofread? Did you investigate? Did you do your own research before you wrote this document? Please let me know. Let's see. Words have power. I'm watching from the beginning, but it's nice to see legal coverage on this. Well, we are happy to have you in. We got Tony P says he's not going to get out. No, he's not getting out. He will be there for a while, quite a while, actually. I think the minimum that he's facing is like 20 years, if I remember correctly. Tony P says, does Vegas have odds on guilty / not guilty? As far as this one, I don't know if they're playing that game there yet. Sam says, nobody is taking those odds, Tony. LOL, exactly. Do we know the answer? Sunlit Wave said, just says, stop babbling. Oh, and it was babble full. It was full of babble. Full of babble and full of snitching on your own client, okay? Tanya D says, don't think the odds would be too good, Tony. Yeah, Vegas is not taking on that game. Would agree. Wonder Bucket says, is the idea that Diddy was basically a Black Epstein? They do mention that. They were like, they called him a Jeffrey Epstein. Oh my gosh, how rude. Like, were you not? That would be the question you should be asking yourself. Were you not being a Black Epstein? I don't know. And Ball says, you were having trouble pronouncing it. Yes, I was. So why would you type it again? oh, expedient. Okay, I got it. I was like, are you trying to embarrass me? I was like, don't keep putting it there. Words have power says, I'm here watching from the beginning. Hit the like button, y'all. Yes, of course. If y'all haven't already, please do hit the like button. Definitely appreciate the support, y'all. Now, we got to get into this nonsense that we are calling Diddy's motion. And unfortunately, I am not able to download the documents, as Kimmy just let me know that she was having technical difficulties, which resulted in my computer also having technical difficulties while we were in our little our document sharing platform, our cloud storage that could be, subpoenaed by the government if anyone were ever to come after us. Anyways, we got a notice of motion from Diddy's attorney. Let me go ahead and have Bossy B bring us into the nonsense that is the motion for an evidentiary hearing in that Mr. what is his name? Diddy is released from prison, or at the very least that the video he is claiming is leaked is suppressed and not shown during the trial. So let's have Bossy B bring us in. Okay, y'all, I did that kind of backwards. I was supposed to give the summary after Bossy B came in, but nonetheless, here we are jumping into the motion that the defense filed, trying to get an evidentiary hearing over a video and some other information that the defense is claiming the prosecution, not the prosecution directly, but maybe Homeland Security or officers working on the raid, told to people, news outlets, feel like they have like some type of connection. They feel like they have some type of connection to media sources and that they're trying to make this a salacious scandal. Like, you cannot be serious. Like, the civil lawsuits are the salacious scandals. That might have worked in the Rodney Jones response to his civil lawsuit, but that is not going to work on the criminal lawsuits, okay? So they're claiming that the government wants this story to be salacious so that the jury pool is tainted. Sir, the jury pool was tainted with those civil lawsuits. It has nothing to do, in my opinion, with what happened in the criminal case, whether or not there was leaks, which I do not think that there was leaks at all. So anyways, let me go ahead and jump into, let me see if one thing downloaded. So let me see if other things are downloaded now as well. And then we'll jump into the notice of motion. Let's see. I do at least have this one. Nope, it's still not downloading everything. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the next document here. We have a notice of motion coming from Sean Diddy Combs' attorney in his criminal lawsuit, saying, please take notice that the declaration of Mark Agnifilo, I think that's how you say his name, dated October 9, 2024, the exhibits attached thereto, and the accompanying memorandum at law, which I decline to believe that was a memorandum at law. It was just a statement of facts, in my opinion. 3 pages of statements at law. Barely. Okay. More facts to go with those statements, but we're not getting into the way that his documents were written. The defendant Sean Combs, by and through his undersigned attorneys, will move this court at the United States courthouse at that at that address and time to be determined by the court. So they filed this motion. They still need a hearing set, but it sounds like they actually talked about this during the hearing today. And the judge is like, yeah, go away. So they are requesting the following relief: an evidentiary hearing to examine government misconduct in connection with the leaks. 2, discovery of emails, documents, and records in possession of the government, including DHS, related to these leaks. Now, this, in my opinion, is a completely inappropriate request. You're basically asking to go into privileged information, because any information that the Attorney General is having with DHS regarding any evidence that collected could be seen as privileged information, not necessarily that their attorney client, but it goes into their work product. How are they trying to put this case together? What communications have they had? So they're basically asking to get into the minds of the prosecutors by asking for email communication or any type of documentation between the prosecution and DHS. I think that's completely inappropriate. I don't know if that was addressed by the judge, because I don't think this was, I don't think it was recorded online, if I'm not mistaken. I think people were just kind of outside of the courthouse. So next thing they ask for is a gag order prohibiting government personnel from disclosing any evidence or investigative material related to this case to any member of the media, which it sounds like that's pretty much what the court ordered. Y'all all be quiet. Be quiet. Don't leak things. And I will say, since this case has been going on, a lot of information has not been leaked from the court prior to it coming out from the court. So I would actually say that they are doing pretty well in being gagged. We're not getting a lot of extra information. Where we're getting more information about Diddy is because people are still filing civil lawsuits against him. I have not gotten any extra judicial information from this case other than the documents that we're pulling from the actual court docket. So I would have to say that they are pretty good at being gagged, to say the least. Suppression, the other thing that they're asking for is suppression of any evidence leaked by government employees in violation of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure, 6E, or any other law, rule, or regulation. This part really shocked me that they just stopped at suppression of the evidence. One of the remedies for disclosing information before the jury has even indicted him in these investigations is to just dismiss the whole indictment. I feel like that's something they should have gone for in number 4. Now, were they going to win? No, because obviously they're still not winning now, even with that lower request to suppress the evidence. But I don't think they were going to win it, but I would think they would at least throw it in there that and Diddy gets a get out of jail free card. Nah, they didn't ask for that. They only mentioned it in their actual memo regarding the laws. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the actual memorandum, which I cannot download, y'all. So please forgive me on the we're going to be on Google today, which we normally are not. We usually have downloaded documents, but we don't have that today. So, but we can still see it and it is doing well. Okay, there we go. We have a memorandum of law in support of a motion for an evidentiary hearing, y'all. We're going to be here for a little bit, getting into all the shade that I believe Diddy's attorney is filing against himself. I don't think it was a good motion. I really don't think it's a good motion. So, defendant Sean Combs moved for 4 forms of relief related to what the defense believes was a series of unlawful government leaks, which have led to damaging, highly prejudicial pretrial publicity that can only taint the jury pool and deprive Mr. Combs of his right to a fair trial. I will repeat it, and I will repeat it from the mountaintops. His reputation was damaged by the stupid things that he did and the egregious things that he did, which this attorney likes the word egregious. So why don't we just join him with that? He was tainted when all them civil lawsuits came out. I don't think anything that could have came out in the criminal lawsuit other than the 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube. That was the most surprising thing. And I guess the scratched off serial numbers on the guns, which that information wasn't even leaked. Those were the most surprising things in the indictment. The trafficking claims and the SA claims, we already all knew about that from not only Cassie's lawsuit, but a bunch of other people's lawsuits. So you saying anything that the government could have leaked was prejudicial and tainted the jury pool? No, this stuff has already been out there. This has nothing to do with the criminal investigation, in my opinion, but y'all let me know what y'all think. Do you think that the government, as we go through this, do you think that what the government did tainted the jury pool? And obviously we kind of already have the answer with the judge's decision today, but in your opinion, do you think that the potential prosecution behavior in the leaked information, which I don't think the prosecution leaked it. I think Diddy leaked it. That's my opinion. That is my opinion. But do you think that could have tainted the jury pool even more than it was already tainted by the 20 lawsuits that's already freaking filed? So they seem to forget that there's already 20 lawsuits filed. Mr. Combs requests an evidentiary hearing to examine the government's misconduct. We just went over there regarding the leaks, discovery of emails between the prosecution and DHS, a gag order, which it sounds like they have, and the suppression of evidence leaked by the government and the employees. The available evidence makes a prima facie showing that the government, primarily through DHS, has engaged in a 7-month campaign with 3 objects. 1, preventing Mr. Combs from getting a fair consideration by a grand jury. Again, all of that information was already out, but whatever, we'll let you keep arguing that. Preventing him from getting a fair trial. And 3, strategically leaking confidential grand jury material and information, including the 2016 Intercontinental videotape, in order to prejudice the public and potential jurors against Mr. Combs. Now, that is the big key evidence that they want suppressed. They want that video suppressed where Diddy drugged Cassie down the hallway, kicking, slapping, hitting her, all of the above. They want that video suppressed. You are going to learn as we go through that. The government is going to say, we didn't even have that video. So I don't know why you think that we had it. And that's why I think that Diddy had it. And I think that Diddy is telling on himself because he know that he had it. So he thought that the government also got it when they raided his house. But what he didn't know is that the government didn't have it. And you just told us that the government sat on all the material until September 16th after he was arrested. So in my opinion, you kind of just muddied your own waters. You're saying that the government is not going through the information, but at the same time, you're saying that they leaked information. And at the same time, the government is saying they don't even have that video, which maybe they do, and they just haven't come across it with all of the evidence that they have. But as of now, they're claiming that they don't even have the video. So that's my opinion. I think that they leaked it themselves, but they're saying the government leaked it. Anyway, so the Intercontinental video, they're saying that is the big prejudicial thing. The thing about that is we already knew about that through the lawsuit. I believed Cassie, and a lot of people probably believe Cassie because he settled with her in less than 24 hours for $30 million from allegedly, right? So people already knew about that. The video just solidified it, that he paid the $50,000 to hide the video. And since he potentially, allegedly paid the $50,000 to hide the video, he knew where the video was. So he believes that the state got a copy of it. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what else I wanted to add to that, but we'll go on. The government scheme to undermine Mr. Combs' right to a fair proceeding has several methods and means. First, there has been a steady stream of false and prejudicial statements made by DHS agents to various press outlets over the last 7 months. Second, the agents engaged in a particularly brutal and public search of Mr. Combs' home. We'll get into that. During which they handcuffed Mr. Combs' innocent sons. They were so innocent. Doesn't one of them also have a SA lawsuit pending against him? Yes, he does. And then marched them before a news helicopter and the press. This was an apparent effort to convey they had overwhelming evidence against Mr. Combs, justifying the public and brutal treatment of even his children. These are adults. Let's talk about that. These are like 30-year-old men, 26, and I think they're like 25 to 30 years old. These are grown men. Brutal treatment of his children. They're grown. They're definitely grown. More grown than some of the people they're alleging that he assaulted. So yeah, let's not call them children if you don't want to call if you want to call the people that have been allegedly assaulted by Diddy adults. Okay, we're not childrifying them if you're not going to childrify everyone. Okay. Who were handcuffed and manhandled by federal agents armed with assault rifles. Third, government employees have repeatedly leaked grand jury information and materials to the press to raise public hostility against Mr. Combs in advance of the trial. You don't think all those lawsuits did that to him? Like, come on now. The most egregious example of this is the leak to CNN of the 2016 videotape from the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. I'm going to give y'all a preview of where this is going. This is about to be a lot of allegations with absolutely no evidence. That's where we're going with this. We have 17 pages of allegations and no evidence. Okay? We got a bunch of hearsay evidence, but the majority of this motion is hearsay, allegations, no evidence. Okay? Let's go on. As detailed below, the CNN leak, okay, was but one of a long and documented history of leaks and false statements made with one purpose: to savage Mr. Combs' reputation prior to trial. While the government's misconduct in this case is particularly egregious, it is unfortunately part of the trend in this district. Now you blaming the whole district? Come on now. You got to do better than that. The government has learned that it can strategically leak information with impunity. This court should exercise its authority to prohibit these underhanded tactics, which severely undermine a criminal defendant's right to a fair trial. So they go on to blame the entire district, but give no examples of how the government or the district is known for doing this. If anything, you're kind of insulting the judge at that point, saying this district is known for doing these kind of things. It's kind of rude. I think it's kind of rude. Okay. At the outset, the defense wants to be clear with the court as what our theory is and is not. We do not contend that the leaks were orchestrated by the U.S. Attorney's Office. Rather, we contend that the false media statements and the grand jury leaks complained of below were planned and executed by DHS. As the parties develop more information in this regard, the court will see that the defense repeatedly contacted the prosecutors and stated in substance that their agents were leaking information to the press. Yet, regardless of what, if any, action the U.S. Attorney's Office took, the leaks continued even until after the arrest. The reason a hearing is needed is to determine exactly what the DHS did and did not do regarding these leaks and what the U.S. Attorney did and did not do to stop them. Like I talked about earlier, they're trying to get into privileged information. You can either count it as attorney work product or attorney-client. I don't know if it will be attorney-client privilege because DHS is not their client, but we're probably looking more along the lines of attorney work product. You cannot get into the attorney general's mind, okay, and figure out how they are planning on presenting this case because they may have had conversations with officials from DHS. So they are trying to, in my opinion, get an unfair advantage by getting the attorney general's notes and emails and things like that. The evidence of government misconduct is clear enough already that this court is justified in using its authority to craft appropriate remedies. Mr. Combs requests that this court order a discovery and an evidentiary hearing to investigate the government's misconduct. Again, calling it misconduct with no evidence that it's misconduct or that they're even the ones that leaked it. The abuse here is clear. How? But without a hearing, it would remain unknown how far or where the abuse reached. An evidentiary hearing is necessary. In addition, if the hearing demonstrates that the violation of the grand jury secrecy was intentional, you haven't even proved that the information came from the grand jury. You are assuming that the information came from the grand jury. Y'all about to get spicy Bree tonight. You're assuming that the information came from the grand jury because Diddy knows, in my opinion, that he paid the Intercontinental $50,000 or more or less to wipe that video clean. So he knew that he had a copy of it and he knew that no one else should have had a copy of it. So the only way that this video is getting out is either Diddy leaked it or the government leaked it. And that is what his attorney is trying to point out. My client didn't leak it. Cassie didn't leak it. The only person that will want to leak it is the government, so the court should believe that the government leaked it. Why should we not believe that Diddy wanted to leak it? You know, because there's allegations of witness tampering. How do we know he wouldn't throw a little video out there? Because guess what? The defense was the first ones that knew that the video was getting ready to be published. So how do we know this wasn't a setup from Diddy? That honestly would not surprise me. If it was really a setup for Diddy, that would be more along the normal lines to me than if the prosecution leaked it. The prosecution has no benefit in leaking it. Why would they interfere with evidence that they could use at trial? And like I said, they have been pretty gagged, in my opinion. That's my opinion. So let's go ahead and jump back into it. In addition, if the hearing demonstrates that the violation of grand jury secrecy was intentional, as we expect it will, the court should order the suppression of the videotape and any other illegal disclosed evidence, as well as other potential sanctions. Like I said, I don't think they really wrote this well because I would have went for the indictment needs to be turned over. The indictment needs to be turned over. That would be my strongest reason if these things happen. I just believe that they don't believe that it actually happened because they know how it actually got leaked and it wasn't the government, in my opinion. Background. The full extent of the government's misconduct cannot yet be known. You don't know anything. You're saying that you're going to prove a prima facie case and you haven't even given me what the rules are for a prima facie case on this kind of hearing. But you're telling me that their violation is clear, but now you're telling me you don't know the extent of their misconduct. You don't even know if there was misconduct, but you're following this motion, calling everything government misconduct. Let's go on. But what is known is already enough. We don't know the extent, but what we do know is enough. The government tactic in searches, the government tactic in the searches, its constant stream of statements to the press and the leak of the hotel video demonstrates its intent to violate grand jury secrecy rules and prejudice Mr. Combs prior to trial. Now we're going to get into the searches. You heard me earlier where they stated that Diddy provided his phone. And in providing his phone, we don't know if information was missing. The defense's argument is they should have just asked. If they wanted the information from Diddy, they should have just asked. Even though he was coming back on a private plane from a spring break vacation, he is willing to give you all the information that you would want to know. Now, Diddy, would you have given us some guns with the scratched off serial numbers? Yes or no? You was going to give that to the government? Yeah, I don't think so. But the defense's position is that the government should have just asked. Just ask. Why would you raid his house? Just ask us. We would have gave you everything you wanted. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I am an attorney and I do respond to discovery. And if you do not specifically state certain things, guess what we're not going to do? We're not going to give that to you. There was an instance where someone said, give me all the appraisals that you have, home appraisals that you have from 2023 to the present day. We didn't have an appraisal in 2023 or present day, but we did have one from 2022 at the end of the year, but they didn't ask for that. So guess what we're not going to do? We're not going to give it to them because that's not what they asked for. But the defense's position is that the government should have just gave it to them. No, the government's not stupid. They're going to raid your house because they know you be hiding stuff like guns with scratched off serial numbers and baby oil and lube. Okay. Not to say the baby oil and lube is incriminating, but it probably is with the type of parties that Diddy was having. But anyways, let me get back into it. We don't just ask. If the government can raid, they're going to raid, okay? They need as much information and they need you not to be destroying information, okay? Notably, the searches could have been avoided altogether. And here we go. They're going to tell us how good Diddy is and he's not a bad person. They could have been avoided altogether at no cost to the government. Prior to the searches, counsel for Mr. Combs had contacted the government twice to offer cooperation. Prosecutor thus knew that they could serve a subpoena on counsel for the phones, devices, and other items they sought. They didn't know that there was guns with scratched off serial numbers. I highly doubt they knew that, but they found that. Why would they give a subpoena? I'm a raid first and do a subpoena later. How about that for the stuff I thought I was going to find that I didn't find? Don't play dumb. He's playing dumb at this point. Indeed, after the searches had been conducted, the prosecutors did exactly this, serving 2 subpoenas on the undersigned, seeking the identical items it sought in the search warrants. Maybe they didn't get all of it. However, the prosecutors ignored defense counsel invitation to discuss the case so they could engage in one, so that they can engage in one of the more brutal and public searches in recent history. I can't read. At about 12:40 p.m. on March 25th, 2024, over 100 armed federal agents massed in 3 locations. Over 50 agents were at the residence at the Two-Star Island in Miami, Florida. 50 more were at his Los Angeles property, and then 30 more was prepared for a stop and search at the airplane that Mr. Combs and his family were taking to a spring break vacation. These searches were specifically designed to be public spectacles of brutality and were not primarily focused merely on acquiring potential evidence. First, the searches were carried out in the middle of the day to optimize media exposure, because that's what the feds are thinking about when they're doing seizures, is media exposure. Typically, searches are conducted quietly and in the early morning. In this case, however, they were conducted in the middle of the day, both in Los Angeles and Florida, so the media could cover them before a larger audience. If that's not speculation, I don't know what is. These were done in the middle of the day so that they could have an audience. How do you know that? What evidence do you have that they said, hey guys, we could do this at 6 a.m. or we can do it at 12 p.m. If we do it at 12 p.m., there's going to be more people there. Who votes 6 a.m. because there's not going to be a lot of people there? Okay, who votes 12 p.m. because there's going to be a lot of people there? Yeah, let's do 12 p.m. No, that's literally not how it works. How do you know their availability? In your experience, you're not even in the police. You're not the police. How do you know when raids are usually done in Miami and in Los Angeles? Are you in the Miami and Los Angeles freaking department of doing raids? I don't think so. I don't think you are. They're usually done in the morning. So they did this all wrong. It literally has to be at a reasonable time. It's not supposed to be like late at night, and it's not supposed to be super, super early in the morning. Any daytime is fine. It's literally fine to do it in the daytime. There's no rules. that they can't do it at 12 p.m. But nonetheless, this is what the attorney wanted to focus on. Okay, let's jump back into it. Let's say they was done in the middle of the day. Typically, searches are conducted in the quiet. They wanted a larger audience. Second, the media was present at the inception of the Los Angeles search. In fact, one media outlet, Fox 11, boasted on air that it was on site and filming even before the crime scene tape was up. It is thus clear that DHS alerted the media prior to the search in order to maximize exposure. Does anyone know in the chat whether, I believe Miami's raid was done first? If I'm not mistaken, I believe Miami's raid was done first, which also could have tipped off. If y'all know, let me know. I don't want to search it while I'm on here, but now I'm already searching it. Was the Miami? Now I can't type. I'm pretty sure Miami was first because they're on a later time zone, and they're claiming that both were done in the afternoon. I don't think they were done at the exact same time. Same day, but I don't think it was the same time. Either way, I'll wait for my phone to finally load. I don't know what's going on there. We got AI trying to generate. Okay. Anyways, I believe that Miami's was done first, which could have tipped off paparazzi or not paparazzi, media in LA to make sure that they're there just in case they're raided. And they also probably saw trucks running around trying to. Sorry, y'all. I'm still trying to find it. I think they were tipped off by the Miami raid. I don't think DHS was like, hey, yo, we about to be at Diddy's house. Y'all pull up. Check us out. We at Diddy's house. We about to raid that hoe. They should have let me be the creative writer in this document. Okay. I would have made it very entertaining. They're not making it too entertaining. It's just filled with speculations. Okay. Okay, and then we got 81 saying done in the middle of the day because of the time zone different as they were simultaneous. So 6 a.m. in Florida is 3 a.m. in California, close to each other. So they were done pretty close to each other. Thank you for that, 81. That's what I thought. I thought that Miami was done, or maybe, I don't know. I thought they got tipped off, but maybe not. I might be wrong. Okay, so third, the agents arrived in military-styled armored vehicles. What did you want them to pull up in their Prius? What did you want them to come in? with scores of heavily armed agents in full combat gear. What do you think this is, a picnic? Diddy be threatening people allegedly with guns. So yeah, they're coming with guns. Like, what are you talking about? I've never, not to say that I know every single police raid or Homeland Security raid or anything of that nature. Not to say I know all of them, but I have never seen the po-pos pull up without guns. Okay. These people pulling up with guns out at a traffic stop. You think they're going to come into your house where they found guns? They might not have known there was guns in there at first, which I think they might have because of all the allegations of you using guns against people. They're going to come out with their guns. I don't like, what do you expect? This is normal, in my opinion, normal police procedure, I'm sure. And when they have these DHS agents on the stand, I'm pretty sure they're going to say these are normal procedures. We come out guns drawn, okay? Because we don't know how y'all are about to act. Okay, let's jump back into it. They said one would think they were attempting to retake Donbas rather than seize some phones and computers. Sir, let's be for real. Let's be for real. They seized guns too. You forgot about that part. The show of force had no legitimate purpose. It was merely an attempt to garner further press attention, sensationalize the case, and portray Mr. Combs as dangerous, because he is. What do you mean? He is dangerous, in my opinion. The show of force was also particularly egregious. My boy loves the word egregious, given that authorities knew Mr. Combs' children, who are innocent and who have never been a target of this investigation, were likely to be present. How old is Sean Combs? I mean, sorry, not Sean Combs. Let's see, Google, let's see. I'm pretty sure both of these people are adult over the age of 25. So Justin Combs' age. His daughters are like 18. So I'm pretty sure they're older. Because his children were there. I don't know why my phone is going so slow. I think it's the Wi-Fi. Let me turn that off. He's 30 years old. Justin Combs is 30. And what's the other one's name? Christian. 26. Oh, I was right on the ages. 26, and because we just did a case on them not too long ago. So they're 26 and 30 years old. And the defense keeps wanting to call them children. But they're calling the girls adults. The girls that were SA, they're calling them adults when a lot of them were underage. We'll get into their disappointment with calling the girls young or close to underage or whatever it may be. We'll get into that. But you want us to consider his children, Christian and Justin, as children. Again, they're 26 and 30. No, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. You're not going to adultify the women. And I don't know if it's called childrenify, but kidify the adult men that we're talking about that weren't manhandled. I think that's the least of their worries. They're living in daddy's mansion. I think they'll be okay. Fourth, the agents use excessive force against Mr. Combs' children who were in his home doing nothing wrong. One agent held a semi-automatic rifle to the head of Christian Combs. I don't condone that. I don't know what the reasoning was about that, but I don't condone that. Even though he was visibly compliant with the agent's demands, another agent had a semi-automatic rifle with a laser sight trained and the orange dot visible on the middle of the chest of Justin Combs. Like his brother, Justin was also compliant with the agent's demand. The agent then handcuffed Christian and Justin inside their house and then marched them to the front yard of the house where news cameras and Fox 11 helicopter all invited by authorities. You don't know that they were invited by authorities. You're putting defamation, you're putting false claims in your documents. You don't know that. They were waiting to get salacious footage. They go on to put in the footnote that they could have took them into the backyard. You don't get to direct how these people do their investigation. If I remember correctly, in law school, people are normally brought to the front of the house and you're brought to an area where people can keep an eye on you. They're not going to put extra people in the backyard to protect those children, his children, from being embarrassed. No one cares if they're embarrassed, okay? Shouldn't have been at daddy's house that day. Then maybe you wouldn't have got a handcuff. But that's normal procedure. If the police is doing a raid, they are going to detain whoever is in the house. Even if it was his little girls, they would have detained them to put them in handcuffs and put them in a position or put them in a place where the officers can watch them. You don't get to dictate where that place is. That's normal police procedure for any police or people that are on task force. And if I'm right, let me know. If I'm not right, let me know. But according to my learning in law school, because that's all I have to do with criminal law, y'all, in this YouTube channel, you put them where they're able to be watched and you're detained, especially if you're in a situation where things can be dangerous, which Diddy has been accused of waving guns at people and blowing people's cars up. So it is a dangerous situation, whether Diddy is there or not. Okay. After perp walking these two completely innocent young men and displaying them in handcuffs and under restraint to the media, the agents walked them back into the house, still in handcuffs, and then released them. Procedure. These egregious tactics, he loves the word egregious, had no possible purpose other than to garner sensational media coverage or for them to do their normal procedure, their job. Like, I don't know how this is going over their head. It worked. The images of armed agents in full tactical gear of the military-style vehicles and Mr. Combs' son's handcuffed and under restraint, having been removed at the point of an assault weapon from the homes, made instant international news. The raid was going to make news regardless. Statements by DHS agents to the press. With the searches concluded, the public relations campaign by the agents moved into high gear. There were scores of public statements made by the agents, only a small sampling of which will be included here. I'm going to kind of speed through these because we're going to go through the declaration, which also includes some of these statements. They basically are saying that these HSI agents were making these comments and some of the police officers were making comments. So on March 25th, 2024, agent and spokesperson from Homeland Security Investigation confirmed that the government was conducting an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. That is public. Well, maybe that the investigation wasn't public knowledge, but we knew that's what's being alleged by a bunch of people filing these lawsuits, right? So I don't think that is necessarily a leak, in my opinion. That day, a source further disclosed to the press that 4 Jane Does and 1 John Doe already sat for interviews with the Southern District of New York investigators for a probe related to sex trafficking and racketeering, and that more interviews are scheduled. And so they say a source. A source said this is happening. Did we not just watch Clayton Eckert and Laura Owens, where they said that the judge's daddy said something that the judge's daddy never said? Somebody said that the judge, they didn't even say that the judge dad said something. But this source, they want us to rely on this source. We're getting into the hearsay part of this document. They want us to rely on a source saying that there was an investigation and 4 people was already interviewed. Who is the source? We need to be able to cross-examine them. Oh, you don't know who the source is? How do we know that the newspaper didn't just put it in there without talking to anybody? People lie all the time in journalism. Not supposed to, but they do. On the next day, on March 26th, law enforcement sources told the New York Post that the agents wanted to seize the 54-year-old's phone and computers and that his properties in New York and Chicago will be next. Again, police officer, who is it? They said it was based on a search warrant from the Southern District of New York. I don't know if that would be a secret. How you guys searching his house? We have a search warrant from the Northern District of New York. Or Southern District of New York. I don't know that would be disclosing information they're not supposed to disclose. It's a warrant. It's not talking about, I guess. I don't know. I don't know the rule on that, so I'll be quiet. Then DHS made public statements too. This is what they're alleging. Among other media, the New York Post, that we believe that there is a disturbing history of sex trafficking. We are responding to concrete, detailed, explicit allegations. This is not random. We didn't choose this name out of a hat. We had allegations that we're following up on. So again, they're just saying an agent was specifically identified by the media story saying a DHS agent made this statement. Again, we don't know who this person is. They go on to say the source is identified by the Post as an officer with Homeland Security. That is not identifying anyone. I can literally go up to one of these raids and say, hey, I am an officer with the Department of Homeland Security. This is what's happening. Does that mean what I'm saying is true? No, it doesn't. I'm not an officer with the Department of Homeland Security. But how are you getting, you're just saying this was said in an article. What do we know about news articles on the internet? They are hearsay. They are hearsay. These people are posting on their blogs. There might be someone watching our live stream saying, you know what? A source said that Diddy leaked the tape. Like I said, that's my opinion. My opinion is that Diddy leaked the tape. Somebody can come and say, I got from a reputable source because I'm an attorney, right? And although it's my opinion, someone can just say, oh, well, she knows all government things. You don't know how many people come up to me asking me questions about areas of law that I just don't know like that because I don't practice that kind of law on a regular basis. There's a lot of laws in the world. No lawyer knows every single law, okay? No lawyer knows how to practice in every single area. So someone saying in an article that they got this from a source does not make the source reliable. To make their blog sounds more, to make it basically more clickable, yeah, they're going to throw in an agent said this. A source from the agency said this. Doesn't mean it's true. Okay, y'all, let's go on. The DHS operative further shared that's a funny thing about victims. They may be reluctant to speak at first, but once they start talking, they talk. They talk a lot. We are getting a lot of cooperation from a lot of people who want to see him brought to justice. Again, a source. They say 2 days later, on March 29th, law enforcement sources, again, we don't know who these people are, told ABC News that the prosecutors have interviewed a number of Diddy's accusers, including those who have filed civil lawsuits. The civil lawsuits are public information. Anybody could have said that. The next day, on March 30, 2024, a reporter at the New York Post stated to the News Nation that, according to Homeland Security sources, that the investigation into Combs was the tip of the iceberg and that nothing was off the table. Again, we're talking about sources. We don't have any names. We don't know who they are. They're just sources close to the case is the next one. On April 2nd, shared that telecommunication records related to Combs. It further reported the source who requested y'all know I can't say that, anonymity, not to be anonymous, y'all know what I'm trying to say, due to the sensitivity of the matter, disclosed that Homeland Security investigators are also keen on obtaining flight records associated with Combs. These flight records, including passenger lists, could provide valuable insight into Combs' movement. Again, we are relying on hearsay. This article said that an officer said this. This article said that an officer said this. And guess what they did? Guess what his attorneys did? Attorneys at their big ages did. They attached the articles. They attached the articles as evidence to say, see, judge, this is true. You are going to have to subpoena all of the writers for all of the editors and talk to them and say, how did you get this information? They can say, oh, we made it up. They can literally say, we made it up. It makes no sense. I don't know what motivated them to write this document. I feel like Diddy was like, y'all better do something. Y'all better do something. And this was the something that they did. This was the something. Okay. Within the first week of the searches, the agents, all of whom were involved in the ongoing grand jury investigation, informed the press that purported victims had been interviewed, that they had obtained and executed search warrants, that they were obtaining telecommunications and flight records, presumably with grand jury subpoenas. I don't think investigations go straight to the grand jury subpoena. I think that if I'm correct, and I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not in criminal law. If I'm correct, things start to happen, right? Right? Things start to happen. The police get some information or the government gets some information and they go, that's pretty cooperative. Somebody said they saw scratched off serial numbers on guns in Diddy's house. I can corroborate that. Let me go to a judge and I'm going to ask for a subpoena and a search warrant. It doesn't have to be through the grand jury. They got the information. They corroborated it and then they indicted it. It does not necessarily mean that the search was under a grand jury subpoena. We don't even know that yet, but they're steady claiming that the subpoena was a grand jury subpoena when it could have just been a regular search warrant for all we know. That's possible too. Okay, let's go on. Let's see. They were obtaining telecommunication for flight records, presumably with a grand jury subpoena. That their grand jury investigation, no, they said they were investigating. They didn't say anything about a grand jury investigation. Even in the documents you cited, they didn't say that. So what are you talking? Oh, no, never mind. I lied. It did say that. Getting a lot of cooperation from a lot of people who want to see him brought to justice, and that the grand jury investigation into Combs was that was him adding in that information. Yeah, that's him adding in that information. So again, the sources that they're citing is not even saying that it's a grand jury investigation. They're just conveniently adding it in between their quotation marks from the article. See, this one is not quotated or in quotations, quotated. It's not in quotations. The grand jury investigation. We don't know that this was a grand jury investigation. It could have just been a regular subpoena. In addition, the agent's public statements were solely designed to prejudice the grand jury and the public, such as, we believe that there is a disturbing history of sex trafficking. We are responding to concrete, detailed, explicit allegations. This is not random. We didn't choose his name out of a hat. We had allegations that we're following up on. Again, I don't think those are necessarily disclosing information. It's just, why are you here? We got a search warrant. We got to figure out what this man is up to. You know, a lot of people are suing him. I don't think that is disclosing private information. And I think that's why the judge said, shut up. Uh, Between the grand jury leaks, again, and the subsidiary public statements, the agents all but ensured that the grand jury would be tainted as well as the general public, from which we will soon select a jury. The inflammatory and false public statements, you mean like what you're making, continue to be present. On September 18, 2024, a Department of Homeland Security agent told, again, we don't know who this is, it's just this document saying this is who they talked to. The music mogul had rooms that were clearly dedicated to sex with cameras all around. If I remember correctly, Don Richard said something along those lines. If I remember correctly. The source was identified as one of the DHS agents who helped raid. So someone who said that they were one of the DHS agents who helped raid it. Again, to make their document or their blog more relevant or more clickable. They're going to say that DHS told them that, right? It further described video evidence obtained during the investigation. This agent went on to tell press, so if you were in those sex parties, you were being recorded from every possible angle, including angles you wouldn't have known about. Again, we don't know who it is. You can do investigation on who it is. Maybe you should subpoena the freaking blog people and figure out who's saying this stuff. Because again, this is all hearsay. They also say, in my opinion, he's as bad as Jeffrey Epstein. These women are young, either barely legal or barely illegal. So remember I said I was going to touch on this. These women were young, either barely legal or barely illegal. And this, again, is coming from an article, which is, what do we call it? Drum roll, please. Do I have a drum roll? I don't even know if I have a drum roll, please. No, I don't. I don't think I do. Never mind. I don't have a drum roll, please. Anyways, this is coming from an article. We call it hearsay, okay? For a government employee to make statements to a New York Post reporter are false and damaging. For a government employee to make statements to a New York Post reporter are false, damaging, and prejudicial. I thought I read that wrong, but no, that's what it says. Just for them to make any statements to them are false, damaging, and prejudicial? I don't think y'all tied that together well, but okay. The indictment alleges a single victim as part of the sex trafficking charge, an adult woman with whom Mr. Combs had a romantic relationship for 10 years. Remember where I was talking about him calling Diddy's sons children? Okay. Diddy's sons are children, and they're 26 and 30. So we're making them children. We are talking about the lawsuit with Cassie was with an adult woman with whom Mr. Combs had a romantic relationship with for 10 years. If you know in the chat, how old was Cassie when they started the relationship? If you know in the chat, let me know. I'll give y'all a second. I know I'm on a delayed response with my YouTube channel. So Cassie is an adult woman who he had a relationship for 10 years. And if y'all remember, how old was Diddy at the time that he got into a relationship with Cassie? I'm going to give y'all a hint. It wasn't the same age. I'll give y'all that hint. But his children, who are 26 and 30 and were handcuffed and so embarrassed, they're children. But Cassie, and I see it coming in, Kimmy Locker, 19. When Diddy started dating her. Not when she started dating Diddy. I'm not even going to say that. When Diddy started dating her, Cassie was 19. 19. So, what's the age of majority? When do you become legal? Either barely legal, 19. What's legal? 18. Most states it's 18. Barely legal, I think she falls under that category. Or barely illegal. I think she falls under that category too. Kimmy letting us know. He was 37. Almost 20 years older than her. So His children, who are 30 and 26, are children and young men. The article making statements that the girls he was messing with were barely legal or barely illegal. Again, we don't even know who's saying this. This is just coming from a random article from the New York Post that they pulled. They're claiming that a DHS agent is the one saying this, right? They said barely legal or barely illegal. I don't think that's incorrect. Do y'all think that? I don't think that's incorrect. I think that's a spot on. But your sons are children, but they are grown as hell. Like I said, he threw shade at Diddy. His attorney did not. Either they didn't research how old Cassie was before they wrote this paragraph, or they throwing shade at Diddy. Those are the two options I'm going with. Okay. Let's see. A single woman, adult woman, not when he met her, in my opinion. Yes, legally an adult, but should he have been dating her? No, she was a child to him. His kids is her age. Okay. For the agent to make public statements that the conduct involved barely illegal women and that Combs is as bad as Jeffrey Epstein is destructive to Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial, particularly in light of the fact that the only victim in the indictment was an adult throughout the charged conduct. I hope they watch this. And I hope they do their research next time. She was legally an adult. She was 19. She was barely legal. Isn't that like the whole girls gone wild category is barely legal because they're like 18 and 19 and 20? That is barely legal. That's literally the definition of barely legal. And to say he was as bad as Jeffrey Epstein, he was doing the same thing, but maybe on a smaller scale. I don't think that tainted the jury pool. I think we already knew this from the civil lawsuits, from the how fast he settled with Cassie. So don't make those distinctions. You wanted us to feel bad for the boys, but you want the adultify the women. That's disgusting. Taken together, the false prejudicial statements and leaks serve to feed further sensationalistic media coverage and prejudice potential jurors in advance of the trial. Then they're going to go into the leaked videotape and their explanation. Their explanation into the leaked videotape is absolutely wild. This allegedly leaked videotape, right? Let's hear their reasoning as to why they think the government did it. In the midst of this 7-month campaign to impugn Mr. Combs' reputation before trial, on Friday, May 17, 2024, a 2016 videotape from the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, I stayed there before, was leaked to CNN. By far, the most likely source of the leak is the government. This is true for several reasons. So, again, they don't know if the government actually leaked it, but they're saying this is the most likely culprit. Okay, but you're filing a motion with no evidence as we go forward. First, as set forth by May 17, 2024, federal agents had already engaged in months-long campaign of leaking information to the press. The months-long campaign of leaking information to the press are the hearsay statements that were in the blog post. We're relying on blog posts to say that federal agents were leaking information. Be for real. They had a demonstrated propensity of embracing contacts at numerous press outlets and leaking information in order to produce media coverage. Again, no evidence of that. Second, victim one, also known as Cassie, is not a likely source of the leaks. There is no evidence that either she or her lawyers have possession of the tape. And how would they know that? Because the allegation is that Diddy paid $50,000 to make the tape disappear, i.e. give me the tape and erase it from all your servers. So that if I need to use it, I can use it, but we don't want her to use it. So he said, we didn't do discovery in Cassie's lawsuit, so there's no way they would have the tape. We don't know if she got it. We don't know if she stole it from him while they was living together. You don't know that. They literally do not know that. But he knew he had the tape. He knew that he had the tape. So saying, throwing shade at your client all throughout this. To the contrary, had either victim one or her lawyer had the tape, the allegation in the civil complaint would have been entirely different and far more specific than they were. What do you mean by that? because we can pull up the complaint right now. She details this incident probably the most in her lawsuit, the hotel incident. And he dragged her out of the hotel room. Like literally seeing the video was exactly what she described in the lawsuit. So please give me more information about what you mean by there would have been more detail. I don't think so. I think she gave enough detail regarding the incident. Moreover, victim one had no motive to approach law enforcement, much less leak a videotape. What does that even mean? She had sued Mr. Combs and received a substantial 8-figure settlement. The government's investigation only began after the lawsuit was settled. Yes, because it put ringing in their bells like, hey, he's abusing women. Oh my gosh, now he's abusing more women. Oh my gosh, now he's abusing men too. Oh my gosh. Yes, they're going to start an investigation of that. And her lawsuit was settled. That doesn't mean she can't testify against him in the criminal trial. You guys are already identifying her as the victim. You know this case can go forward with her as the victim. Y'all are going to talk about how much money she took from him to settle the case, sure. But she's still a victim. You're saying her lawsuit should have been more detailed so that the video didn't have to be leaked? Like, what are you really arguing here? Third, an unrelated third party is not likely a source. So Cassie's not the source. Who did they say? Then they said the agents were leaking information by these blog posts. Third, an unrelated third party is not likely the source. If a person not in law enforcement were to leak the videotape to a news source, that person likely would have sold the tape rather than simply give it to CNN. Or it could have been a victim that wants to expose him because he came out and said he didn't do those things to Cassie and she was a liar. And then he had to come out and apologize after the video was leaked. So outlets such as TMZ are known to pay tens of thousands of dollars for such footage. That it was leaked instead to CNN shows a motive other than financial profit. It shows a motive to damage Mr. Combs' reputation without remuneration, a motive held by a federal agent. So it had to be the government because they didn't get any money compensation for leaking the tape is what they're arguing. Come on, dude. Fourth, the timing of the leak suggests a government involvement. The tape was leaked on this one is stupid. I don't know where they came up with this one, but they're running with it. Fourth, the timing was leaked. The timing of the leak suggests government involvement. The tape was leaked on one of the few days that Trump trial was not being held, as Barron Trump, Donald Trump's youngest son, graduated that day from high school in Florida with his father in attendance. Why would the government be thinking about Trump's son and his high school graduation? How does that? Okay, one of the more contentious issues in the Trump trial was whether trial would be stayed so Trump could attend his son's graduation, which to me is ridiculous in itself. Like, why is that even a consideration as to whether a trial is paused? You're on trial, a criminal trial. You're gonna miss your son's graduation. Stop doing weird stuff. Eventually, the court announced that May 17 would not be a trial day. This was a fact that would have been known to federal agents. Y'all, I don't know if I'm making it through this. So the court announced in a public trial, if I'm not mistaken, Trump's case was live streamed, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was live streamed. Either way, it's a public trial. Anybody can go to it. It was a criminal trial. The court announced that there will be no trial on May 17th. So you assume that all federal agents are watching Trump's trial and was like, oh, this would be the perfect day to leak the tape? You're not connecting the dots. He's not connecting the dots. Sorry, y'all. This was not supposed to be a rant stream, but as I read it, I just get more upset. This was a fact that would have been known to federal agents because all federal agents are keeping up with Trump, right? And they also would have known that May 17th was thus a perfect time, as it was a slow news day given the break in the Trump trial. I need to know when the announcement that there wouldn't be trial on May 17th happened. Because if it was like the day before, like, come on, dude. No one's plotting this hard and no one is thinking of Trump. If the government did plan this, I highly doubt that Trump would have been a consideration. I just highly doubt that. Which, again, brings me back So maybe Diddy is the one that leaked it, in my opinion. Because for you to even put this in a document, I don't even know how that even came to your mind. Like, why are you even thinking about this kid going to graduation in Trump's trial? How does that relate to your trial in any way other than if Diddy was the one watching Trump's trial and was like, oh my gosh, they're not going to have court on this day. Let me leak this video so that I can apologize and make myself look better after the raids. That makes more sense to me, but y'all let me know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Slow news day because Trump is not in trial. Early in the morning on May 17th, a CNN reporter informed a member of Combs' public relations team that CNN has come across a video from the Intercontinental Hotel. The reporter went on to say, through our reporting, we have confirmed this video is authentic. They also confirmed that DHS agents were saying stuff that you can't even prove in your own motion. The reporter sought comment and also stated that CNN was reaching out to Victim One's representatives for a comment. At 10:22 a.m. that morning, defense counsel emailed the prosecution team to say that CNN was in possession of a videotape and that counsel was concerned about the circumstances by which it was provided to CNN. The government acknowledged defense counsel's email hours after the tape was made public, but as far as defense counsel is aware, took no further action. Regardless, a few hours after defense counsel made the prosecutors aware that CNN had the tape, CNN released it to overwhelming international attention. That part to me was stupid because it's like, well, we emailed them at 10 a.m. and they didn't get back to us until later. Do you think they're sitting at their emails waiting for you to email them about Diddy? I don't think so. I don't think they're sitting around waiting to talk to Diddy's attorney. The videotape was leaked to CNN for one reason alone: to mortally wound the reputation and the prospect of Sean Combs successfully defending himself against the allegation. He wasn't going to defend himself against the allegations with or without the tape. He just wasn't. It was not going to happen, okay? He was not going to win this with or without the tape. He got on Instagram and apologized publicly. That video will come into evidence of him apologizing, even if they can't get in the video of Cassie, because as we can see, it's cut. It's not all one video. They kind of compiled it together. They may not be able to authenticate that video. But you know who would? Diddy, if he's the one that leaked it. But they could pull that video from Instagram, which is public, and say, hey, you made this apology, or Sean Combs made this apology, bringing Cassie to the stand. What was he referring to here? And she can testify, well, there was a video that was leaked and blah, 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 of him dragging me through the hallway, basically proving that my allegations were true after he got on the internet telling everybody that I was lying. Oh, okay. It would have got in regardless. With or without the video, it would have got in. His apology video is getting in. Rather than using the videotape as trial evidence along with other evidence, that gives it context and meaning. What context and meaning do you have for dragging somebody down the hallway? Like, not to laugh at the incident, but what context and meaning are you going to get from that? The agents misused it in the most prejudicial and damaging way possible. The government knew what it had: a frankly deplorable video recording Sean Combs in a towel, hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman in full view of the camera in the hallway of a hotel. So you admit that it was him. Can this be used as evidence? You just admitted that it was him in a towel, hitting, kicking, and dragging a woman. You just admitted it. The potential problem for the government is that if an agent provided this videotape to CNN, this would be a violation of the grand jury secrecy. This is, among other things, what the hearing will determine. Because it is reasonable to believe that this was obtained in connection with a grand jury investigation, it was intentionally given to CNN to be released to the world, and that there is a strong possibility that the person providing it to CNN was a federal agent involved in the grand jury investigation. The remedy for the conduct should be full suppression of the videotape that the government leaked. Again, you don't even know if the government leaked it. It goes on to say that the court has authority to suppress the evidence to prevent things like this from happening again. And another remedy is for the indictment to be overturned altogether, so Diddy would get out of jail. They don't really focus on that remedy, but in this the law part of the memorandum of law in support, it does talk about potentially getting the case dismissed. But I'm not going to read it because I've been really reading forever, and we got like I'm probably not going to go through his declaration to tell you the truth because, like I said, it does cite a lot of the information that was the articles. He's basically admitting the articles exhibits through his declaration and saying these are the titles of the articles, seeing DHS agent says this, officer says this, Homeland Security says this, so it must be true. He also goes on to say that he emailed emailed the prosecution telling them that, hey, this is what's going on with the CNN video, and that the prosecution didn't email them until like 6 p.m. You don't know what they were doing. They could have been in trial for all you know, and you wanted them to be sitting at their computer waiting for an email from you when there is no pending case against him at the time. You were probably not their priority. You probably were not their priority, okay? So I do think that the defense leaves out a lot of information in this. I think they just kind of threw shade at him the entire time. You're trying to call your boys children, but Cassie an adult when Cassie was younger than the boys at the time when he started dating him, and probably barely older than, or he's still younger than the oldest one, right? At the time that they broke up. But she was an adult, right? But we need to feel bad for the children. And then we got, well, the video must have been leaked by the government because like nobody else would have wanted to leak it. Not even my client would have wanted to leak it to try to make himself look better and apologize and kind of put himself in a better light because he's willing to apologize publicly. A third person couldn't have done it because they would have wanted money. It's like all of their argument is speculation, pure speculation. DHS attorney said this because this is what the blog post said they got the information from. Like I said, anybody can come onto my video and clip any part of my video, cutting out in my opinions and all of the nonsense that I say throughout the live stream so that I'm not defaming anybody. Come and cut something that I say and say, this is a reputable source. She is an attorney. She is an officer of the court. So she has to tell the truth. So this is the reputable source. Anybody can do that. I can go out there to the raids and say, hey, yo, I'm an attorney and I work with the Homeland Security because maybe I have a business at home called Homeland Security. So I wouldn't be lying. And I know this information. Anybody could have said that. Or blog post. They could have just made it up. They could have not talked to anybody. They're just trying to make headlines most of the time. So it's not a guarantee that they even talked to anyone. They just said they did. We don't even know if they talked to anyone. So this motion is based on pure hearsay. Hearsay and guesses. This lawsuit is based on hearsay and speculations. This motion is based on those things. And I think it was a horrible motion. I don't know what possessed the attorney to file this. I feel like they felt like they needed to do something to try to delay. I feel like they needed to do something to try to get the prosecution's thoughts because they wanted emails between the prosecution and DHS. They wanted privileged information, in my opinion. And so they're trying anything, grasping at the walls, grasping at the air, trying to keep Diddy afloat while this appeal is pending and before this superseded indictment come. And I feel like that superseded indictment is going to be crazy because now we have potentially 120 more lawsuits coming out, which is potentially 120 more witnesses that could come out, which would make the trial probably more along the lines of the Young Thug trial of a year long, not 4 weeks, not a month, which is what they currently have it reserved for. So I do think that is interesting. I do have one more document. I'm not going to go through his declaration because it really repeats what we already went through. And your girl is tired of reading. Y'all see me struggling through that. I was struggling through that. As if I don't struggle through everything all the time, but today was particularly hard for me. Did I download this one? Yes, I do have this one downloaded actually. So let's jump into this email thread between Diddy's attorney and it's an email thread between Diddy's attorney and the defense. I'm not the defense, the prosecution. Can't keep my words together. Here we go. Okay, so here is the email starting off. It says, this is from the prosecution sending to the defense counsel. In the joint letter filed with the court today, you stated that at some point today, Mr. Combs intends to file a motion for a hearing and other remedies related to unauthorized and prejudicial leaks of grand jury information. To the extent that your motion relates to any leak of information associated with the March 5th, 2016 surveillance video at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, we write to follow up on our conversation last night. As previously discussed, the government did not possess the video published by CNN prior to its public release, and the government possessed no surveillance video at all from the Intercontinental prior to CNN's public broadcast. Accordingly, we wish to advise you that we consider any assertion in your motion of a purported government leak related to the Intercontinental surveillance video a lack of good faith basis. I would have to agree with them wholeheartedly. Their reasonings didn't even make sense. They should have ran this by them before they filed it. Be like, bro, you cannot be for real. Like, this is literally what you're filing. Now, one thing I can say is one of the reasons why Diddy is probably trying to rush them divulging the information that they at least collected on Diddy, because they're going to hope that they find that video in the information that they got from Diddy. Government is saying that they don't have it. The other thing to know about this is the government is also saying they haven't been through everything yet. So maybe they don't even know that they have it. The other thing that I would be concerned about is the way that this motion was written, filled with lies, riddled with lies, in my opinion. My concern would be them planting the video into the evidence that is sent to the defense. Like, the prosecution sends it to them without the video. And then all of a sudden, once the defense gets it, they're going to recover the video somehow and try to claim that the prosecution did something to hide it. That I would not be surprised if that happened. I hope that doesn't happen, but I would not be surprised if that happened. That would be some sneaky stuff. Okay. And then in response to that email, Diddy's attorney says, "Hi, Emily." Why are you calling her Emily? Thank you for reaching out and for the call last night. We contacted you yesterday to tell you what our direction was, invited comment from you, and we hear and appreciate what you are saying. Ultimately, I don't believe you can possibly know what DHS agents did and did not do in regard to this videotape. We are making it very clear that we believe the U.S. Attorney's Office was not involved in the leak, but throughout the motion, y'all blamed them. You literally did. It's like, it's not y'all, but it's some people that y'all know. However, I don't feel the same way about DHS. Again, like I said, we reached out as a gesture of good faith and because we genuinely want to know your perspective. That being said, while you can speak from a position of knowledge in regard to your office, I don't believe you can do so in regard to the agency. This is not an issue of believing you guys or anything remotely like that. It is a matter of not knowing and controlling all aspects of the situation. If I am missing something, please let me know. The other thing about it is like, okay, if the prosecution had it, DHS would have had it before the prosecution, but I don't think DHS goes searching through it before they give it to the attorney general. I don't think they're allowed to do that. I want y'all to realize this pettiness, because I do this. I do this all the time. So if you can see the email from them on October 9th at 11:54 a.m., this was actually just yesterday, Emily emails defense counsel and says, "Counsel." She's addressing him as counsel. And then you scroll up. He goes, "Hi, Emily." Now, unless you know that the attorney you're working with prefers to go by the first name, you're being petty. Me, I prefer to go by my first name, so I don't mind if people say, "Hi, my name," and then go from there. "Hi, Bree," whatever. I don't really care because I'm a younger attorney. I don't want you to call me by my last name. I think it's a little weird. But as you can see, she started off saying counsel. Then he goes, "Hi, Emily." She comes back, in my opinion, which is petty. She comes back and says, "Hi, Mark." Since you want to be on a first name basis, hi, Mark, to you too. I do this, like when attorneys are getting on my nerves, I'll be like, "Counsel, Mrs. or Mr. This. As soon as they start getting on my nerves, I'm calling them by their first name. It's almost like cussing somebody out as an attorney, unless you know that that person is okay with using their first name instead of last name or counsel or whatever you might want to call it. To me, this is a petty response just by saying hi, Mark. The salutation is petty in my opinion. Okay. To be clear, to our understanding, DHS did not have possession of the videotape prior to CNN's publication of it. Only the government has authority to obtain grand jury material, and the video broadcast by CNN was not obtained through the jury process. So they're saying they did not get this in the jury process. Like I said earlier, it could have been a regular subpoena. It did not have to be a grand jury subpoena. So the initial subpoena, I'm assuming, probably was not a grand jury subpoena. And then now with the subpoena that they got after the raid, that was probably a grand jury subpoena. Or maybe it wasn't. I'm going to see if I can find the subpoena. I don't think they filed the subpoenas though, so maybe I can't find the subpoenas. Okay. Shout out to Apocalypse. Let me pull this up. Apocalypse DOA just became a member of the channel. Shout out to you. If I can find my applause. Y'all know I don't know how to use this thing. There we go. There we go. Welcome to the membership. Thank you. Definitely appreciate it. Let me go ahead and jump into the comment section because I see that it's building up because I was running my mouth too long reading the documents because I accidentally raged and I didn't mean to rage. But they was getting on my nerves. They was really getting on my nerves. Did y'all hit the like button? Oh my gosh, we are at 87 likes with 77 people watching live. If you have not hit the like button, please do. We could potentially double our like goal today. I know there's a couple of y'all that have not hit the like button. It helps us out in the algorithm and it helps us get more friends. But since we reached the like goal for the live stream, which was 50 likes, I am going to go ahead and play our like goal animation. If you are sensitive to sounds, this is your warning now to turn down your volume because we do have an explosion at the beginning of our like goal animation. So let me see here. I'm gonna play it in 3, 2, 1. Hey. We reached our like goal. Shout out to the BriHive for that. Let's see what the chat has to say because I know y'all got some comments. I know I was reading for a while, so some of the comments might be a little bit older and hopefully I can remember what I was actually talking about at the time, but we'll get through it nonetheless. We have Kimmy Locker saying tonight's one of the rare nights I haven't actually had technical difficulties, maybe because you got them instead. The documents were fine on my end until I came home to my computer to download them. And now only some of them work. So yeah, no, I've had other ones from my iPad before and not have issues. Anyways, I'm not going to focus on it. Miss Hayes says, notice of motion sounds like could be code for an invitation to a free con. Why would you say that? It does sound like an invitation. Oh, I hope I'm a member of the channel for 5 months. Thank you for that. Saying he's already proven witness intimidation. Stay in. Exactly. He is a flight risk. He is witness intimidation, and I do not put it past him to have leaked his own video. Just Me MD says Miss Hayes Diddy's freak offs haven't stopped, just a different location, cell block D. Y'all gotta stop. Just Stacy says, and Diddy has the means to flee if he gets out. That is also true. He definitely does. And he's like, oh, they gave up their passports as if they can't get other passports. Like they're celebrity. He's a celebrity. Just Me MD says to Just Stacy agreed. If he gets out, he is out of here. No reason to say why. He's facing like 20 years minimum. Stargazer Kawaii says the baby oil photos was pretty prejudicial. But I think that came out after the case was open, though. Kimmy Locker says the Stargazer Kawaii shoot the baby oil quantity is prejudicial. But that was in the indictment. Stargazer Kawaii says his children have some accusations against them rumored. Exactly. I believe it's Justin is the one that has the lawsuit filed against him, which Diddy is also named in for assaulting a girl on a yacht or a cruise ship or yacht. I think it was a yacht. Destined to Be says is exactly the stargazer. Out of here. Kimmy Locker says the stargazer Kauai. Yeah, not just rumored, but alleged in court. Yes, okay, that one too. 18-1 says innocent son, LOL, children, maybe mentally immature, but last I checked, that means nothing. Yeah, that is also true. Okay, and Kimmy corrected me and said Christian is the one with the legal allegations for the yacht incident. I thought it was yeah, because I guess it was the older one. Yeah. Shamika Lachey's Effect says there has been talk about Diddy since beginning in the 90s. Also, Usher been talking about Diddy's parties since his earlier years. In the beginning of his career, the industry normalized it. I can agree with you on that. I think this is normal for the industry. And I think that's why so many people are involved in it and they don't say anything. But it's still not right, especially because they involve such young people. Like Usher at like 14, I believe, was involved in these things, which I can kind of blame his mother for sending him to go live with a strange man that she didn't know. But I don't know what goes through their minds. They just have so much money that they all of a sudden become attracted to children. I just can't get behind that. And you all of a sudden become attracted to doing stuff to people that are not able to consent. I can't get behind that. I can't get behind it. 18-1 says, so this is a spaghetti against the wall motion. Feels like it. It definitely felt like it. Destined to Be says seems like it to 18-1. Shamika Lachey's Effect says Diddy ruined his own legacy. Thank you. Thank you. He for sure ruined his own legacy. Okay. He's been doing that for years. It's just catching up to him now. I'm trying to point the finger at everyone else but himself, and he will never admit his wrong. Yeah, I agree. He's still refusing to admit it, trying to blame the government for making his reputation bad. No, you did that. You did that, sir. 18-1 says Diddy is trying to say, hey, they are doing to me what they did to Trump without saying Trump. He did say Trump. He said Trump got to go see his kids' high school graduation. Can I go to the Met Gala or no? Oh, Diddy. Miss Hayes says, where's all Diddy's videos? The ones that the government has already collected. Destined to Be says, Miss Hayes, the feds got 96 electronic products from the raids and 4 more when he was arrested. They have everything they need. He's done. The crazy part is like, they could have just called us. We would have gave them everything that they asked for. I'm going to tell you, no, you wasn't. You was not going to give them everything they asked for because I know lawyers. I'm a lawyer. If you don't ask specifically for an item, they're going to be like, this request is vague. They are not going to give you what you ask for. It's like, oh, here's my phone that I probably just bought from a Walmart that I don't really use ever. Here's that phone. Oh, the one with like all my sex tapes? Oh, no, y'all can't have that. Like, come on, dude. Come on. Sam says, suggest Stacy, where would Diddy flee to? Even places like Cuba help extradited such wanted criminals. He probably doesn't want to get Epstein. He would probably just go to Epstein's island. He ain't there no more. Silva Tinge says, when did it leak? I have not seen it. This was back in May of this year is when it leaked. Kimmy Locker says, CNN released it in May. Yep. 18-1 says, gonna laugh if someone in Diddy's family leaked as a form of ribbon. And that's what I'm saying. It could even be one of his security guards or someone that knew he had the video. They could have downloaded it right while the fans was pulling up, or they could have downloaded it years ago. Like I said, Cassie could have downloaded it. He had her locked in the house all the time. Like, anyone could have downloaded it and had it in their pocket to basically expose him. And the fact that he was calling Cassie a liar, she gonna be, man, if I was Cassie, I'd be like, I'll show you, liar. Here's the video, y'all. I was not lying. And I got my 30 million. Not saying she did it, but I would if I had the opportunity. Sam says to 18-1, I wouldn't rule that out as a possibility. That or one of his friends. Yeah. Mrs. Hayes says, sounds like he's cooked. He is cooked. They just admitted that it was him in the video. He could have denied that it was him in the video, although he already apologized on the internet, but he could have still denied it by not testifying. There's no proof that's him. Stargazer Kauai says they really, really, really want there to be government misconduct. They are trying to convince us that it's government misconduct by calling it government misconduct. Like, the government could have literally bought him coffee. He would have been like, they're trying to bribe me. Government misconduct. That's what I got from the motion. Ohio Palm Mom says there's nothing to stop someone at the hotel from keeping a copy and releasing. Yes, 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 yes. I thought that too when they was like, yeah, erase everything. No. No, I'm not gonna erase it. I might record it on my phone so I can have it erase everything. But you can give me 50,000. I'll take the 50,000. Yeah. Nothing stopping them from keeping a copy themselves. Destined to be says the Ohio Palm Mom, for sure, especially since Cassie said he tried to pay off the hotel workers. Yeah, I would have kept it. AT1 says, oh, this motion is BS. So they Diddy knew they were looking at him and they do not have to reveal their hand, Mr. Defense Attorney. Yeah, they did know that they were being... Yeah, Diddy did know they were looking at him, and that's where the attorney always is like, oh, well, we reach out to them. They didn't respond to us. Well, there's no case against him yet. There's no need to respond to him, respond to the defense. There's no case against him yet. So to say, oh, well, we would have just gave them everything if they would have asked nicely, like, no. We're not doing that. Sam said, getting the warrant at night is going to be harder. Yeah, and he's complaining that it was in the daytime. There's nothing wrong with doing a search warrant in the daytime. It's just how the cards fell. Stargazer Kawaii says, I'm reminded of the Afro Man police search. That I don't know that one. A Karate Cat Man says lemon pound cake. Oh, sorry, mom. Karate Cat mom. Destined to be says, thank everyone for hitting the like button. Bossy Bree, appreciate y'all. I can't talk no more. Bossy B appreciated. Thank you, Tanya D. Kimmy Lockett says Diddy allegedly blew up a car, but is mad they brought an armored vehicle. Seriously, like, you like to blow vehicles up. Yes, I'm coming in my tank, okay? I don't think it was a tank, but yes, I'm gonna come in an armored vehicle. You like to blow things up, and you point guns at people, and you bring guns into clubs, and you shoot people in the face, sir. And you want us not to come in guns drawn? This is not you ran a stop sign traffic stop. That's not what this is. 18-1 says it's not like the California entertainment media does not just monitor where stars live paparazzi much. I was thinking that too. They could have just been on the street or on the freeway and like, oh my gosh, there are tanks. Let me follow the tanks. They could be sitting outside of the police department to follow tanks. We don't know. I keep calling it a tank, but it's probably not a tank. We don't know how they got there. Just Stacy says, I'm sure paparazzi monitor cops too. Yep, that's where I was going. They're probably sitting right out of the department. Destined to be said, FBI raided my friend's neighbor and they rolled up in the suburban neighborhood with multiple SWAT vans and large weapons. I'm just saying, I can agree with that too. And I forgot to say that when I was talking about it. Diddy, you're not special. Whenever the police are raiding someone, they're coming with the people they need to come with. And sometimes that involves SWAT. And sometimes that involves people with tanks. And sometimes that involves armored vehicles. Even if it's not the kind that they had for Homeland Security, they have armored vehicles with SWAT. So I agree with Destined to Be. That is a normal occurrence. And they're trying to make it seem like Sean Diddy Combs was dangerous. He is dangerous. What are you talking about? That's the whole complaint. He's dangerous. Sam says no purpose, right? Because there have been no one going postal in these situations when caught with stuff. Exactly. You got guns with the serial number scratched off. You want us to believe you are not willing to shoot somebody and not be traced? Come on, dude. Stargazer Kawaii says, but they're his young baby boys. Those are grown men's, okay? Stargazer Kawaii says, but his baby boys are special. Oh, that's not the one I was looking for. I imagine when I saw that. His baby boys are special. They are. Infantilized is what Kimmy says I should call it instead of kidify. Kidify is a bad one. But you like it? Okay. I feel like it's easier. Crystal Harris says, random thought, did Diddy baby mother die the same way Usher's wife did? IDK, why that popped in my head. I don't really know anything about Usher's wife dying. That is not in my memory bank. But Kim Porter died of kind of suspicious causes. I think they said it was an aneurysm, but people don't believe it was an aneurysm, if I remember correctly. 181 says, as young as 9 has been reported. If true, Diddy need to have his mineral deficiencies corrected. 150 grains times 2 of PV at 1,000 FPS should correct this injected center mass. I don't know what that means, but I feel like that has to do with some type of penalty of unaliving and a jail sentence. And again, with the audacity for them to be mad when they put barely legal or barely illegal, I think that's a little bit better because people have come out. There's people that have sued that said they were actually underage. So with them saying it was young girls, they could have just said it was young girls. It was underage girls. They didn't even have to say the barely legal or barely illegals because some of them were illegal as far as age goes. Sam says, it'd be hilarious, not funny, haha, if the source was Tim Ballard. 81 says, this live stream is hearsay, just saying. Exactly. My live stream is pure hearsay and I'm reading court documents. So, judicial protection we have here. Just Stacy says, Casper the Ghost is the source, right? It could literally be anyone. It could be me. I could be the next source. Sam say warrants can use hearsay and it's fine. Just saying. Yes, warrants can use hearsay, but your motion for an evidentiary hearing with the evidence support cannot be hearsay. Your support cannot be hearsay for your evidence. Stargazer Kawaii says, how weird and unprofessional is it for police to do their jobs and make police statements? Yeah, weird. Strange. Yeah. Shamika says, that's why his attorneys and his family look so defeated leaving the courthouse today. It clearly didn't go their way. He wanted to be released. He wanted an evidentiary hearing to get all up in the prosecution's business. And he didn't get any of that. He wanted a trial in April, but he got one in May. He's missing the Met Gala. Sorry, Diddy. And Cinco de Mayo. You missing Cinco de Mayo, man. 181 says, did they file this physically or e-file? If physical, they wasted good toilet paper for this. If e-file, a waste of CPU usage, storage, and energy usage. I'm pretty sure it would have been an electronic filing, but I don't know. Mama Bear of One says, my baby girl's 18 next month and we're in our early 40s. That's like us dating our kid. Ew. Exactly. Yeah. That's literally what he did. I'm pretty sure he has kids the same age or around the same age as Cassie. Mama Bear of One says, mortally wound. Is this a romance book gone wrong? Like what? This is a mess. It's literally a mess. Stargazer Kawaii says, these lawyers are quite repetitive. They love the word egregious. Kimmy pointed it out to me and I thought she was tripping, but no, it went throughout the whole paper. Kimmy Locker says to his Stargazer, Kawaii, right? They use the word egregious twice in 3 sentences in the beginning and it drove me nuts. It made you stop reading it. And just Stacy says the lawyer's trying to paint Diddy as a victim of fame. Yeah. Not you trying to be a victim and you got 120 people trying to sue you for making them a victim is wild. Just Diddy, you might want to sit this one out. Just be quiet. Let it take its course and be quiet. Okay. He's trying to get out of jail free. That's what he's trying to do. He knows he's not going to survive a trial. He's not. Stargazer Kawaii says, I hope the prosecution has have the ages of the sons next to their names every time they are mentioned in the respective response. Yeah. Not his, yeah, they're children because he's the father, but they are grown men. I don't even think they're going to have to do a response because it looks like the judge said something about defense just writing a motion basically for neither party, not even just the prosecution, but for neither party to leak any evidence. That's what the order is. So I don't think there's going to be a hearing. Again, shout out to Apocalypse. DOA for becoming a member. Welcome, welcome. And then we got Stargazer Kawaii saying, I don't understand how respective got in my previous comment. I don't know if I missed that or not. Y'all know I can't read. Stargazer Kawaii says, we all love the rage. I didn't mean it. I thought I was going to be able to get through things quick, and I just kept getting distracted and mad. 181 says, go rage breathe. Give me like I said, spicy breathe for the win. Sunlit wave says, baby, baby, baby oil. Ooh, baby, baby, baby oil. Is that Justin Bieber? 181 says they would have gotten all the phones and servers after Diddy did a Hillary on all of them. He was trying to clean, in my opinion. I'm not surprised if some of that stuff was already wiped. I wouldn't be surprised. Or maybe he thought they weren't going to raid him, so he didn't wipe him because he thought they were going to ask nicely, because that's probably what his defense attorney told him. Oh, no, they're just going to ask nicely. They're just going to ask nicely. Watch. They're going to give us a subpoena. We're going to be able to give them everything that we want to give them, and everything that we don't want to give them, we're not going to give it to them. And so, yeah, don't worry about it. He thought he was golden. Stargazer Kawaii says, you should check out Will You Help Me Fix My Door Afroman music video. It's starting to sound familiar. Repair my door. It's starting to sound familiar. I feel like it's ringing a bell now. But I don't remember all the way, so I will have to look into it. Stargazer Kawaii. 81 says Diddy is afraid of getting convicted because everyone remembers Tupac. I don't know if that will come out. I think there's a trial on that actually coming up shortly. Okay, y'all, that's all I have for today. I was going to cover, there's a Poppy class action for those of you that drink Poppy sodas. So I may make like a short on that or something. And then I am working on kind of a deep dive on the Courtney Clenny case that I plan on releasing next week. Fingers crossed. Hopefully I do not forget to do that. And I always forget to announce in the beginning of the live streams, but I do need to do a members live stream. So I will be posting in the community tab for the members of the channel that would like to come on live and kind of talk about the cases we've been talking about over the last few weeks, which is mostly Diddy. I'm going to do a members live stream for that so that we can get y'all live's opinion. We love y'all in the chat, but we also love you on the screen chatting and telling us everything you think and why these people are out of control like I had to go through today. Thank you everyone for joining me tonight, and thank you for everyone that hit the like button. Let's actually see where we are. We hit 95 likes, so we are 5 away from 100. So again, if you have not hit the like button, if we hit 100 for the like goal for the stream, we have not hit that in a while, so that would be pretty amazing. We have a couple of views, but 441 views, which is also amazing for the live stream. So shout out for everyone that came from Uncivil and stayed and supported the stream. Definitely appreciate it, and definitely appreciate y'all for joining the live stream. I don't see any more likes coming in. I'm gonna go ahead and tap out so that I can continue getting those other live streams that's coming next week up, and then get that community post out for y'all in order to see when we're gonna have the members live stream. So I will see y'all all on the next live stream. Have a great weekend. Bye.